Hey, Mr. C's back, and I want to talk a little bit more about this mole chart, but specifically with the case of a two-step conversion. So a two-step conversion. And in a two-step conversion, what that means is rather than either starting at moles and going to something else, like moles to molecules, moles to liters, or moles to mass, or something like molecules to moles, liters to moles, or mass to moles, we're doing something where we're going from, say, liters. And as we go, we want to end up at, say, mass. And there's no direct link between these two. It's not like we can just divide or multiply by a single number and be like, that's the link between liters and mass. Anytime we do these two-step conversions, we have to go through the middleman, which is moles. So the middleman here. So in the way that we're going to do this is we're always going to take what we have to start with, convert it into moles, and then take that number in moles and convert it into what we want. So we're always going to be dividing by something first because we're always going 2 moles. So dividing by 22.4, dividing by 6.02, or dividing by molar mass. And then once we get moles, we can multiply by 22.4, 6.02, or our molar mass here. So in our specific example of, say, we want to go liters to mass, well, we're starting at liters. So we're kind of like starting here. And we're first going to go into moles. So we get to moles and we're super good. So we're converted by dividing by 22.4. Well, once we get that, the way that we get mass is we're going to take our moles and we're going to go into mass by multiplying by the molar mass. So see how we have our first step up here where we're taking our liters, because that's what we start with, dividing by 22.4 to get moles. And then once we do that, we can get our second step where we're taking our moles that we just calculated from before and multiplying by molar mass. And we can do this with any kind of conversion that we want to look at. Say instead of doing that, maybe instead we want to look at the conversion where we're saying, well, no, we want to go mass and we want to convert that into molecules. Well, the way that we're going to do that, we're starting at mass over here, and we first need to convert that into moles. So we're going to come into moles, and we're going to do that by dividing, and because we're starting with mass, the number we want to divide by is molar mass. And now that we have that mass, we can then take that up over here and we can do our second step in order to get to our molecules. Or in this case, as we're starting with those moles that we calculated in step 1, we're now multiplying by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd, and we're now going to end up with how many particles we have. So when we do those two-step conversions, it's best to treat them really as two one-step ones, where the first thing you're doing is you are always going to be starting with dividing by a number. So in our two-step conversions, we always divide first. We get our moles, we get to that middleman here. And then once we're at the middleman, we're at moles, we can then multiply to get away from them to whatever we want. So we're always going to divide first by our number that we start with, and then we multiply second by whatever the number is that we're looking for. So whether that be 22.4, whether that be 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd, or whether that be our molar mass. But with those two-step ones, we are always dividing first and then multiplying second, because we always must go through the middleman when doing our two-step mole conversions.